What's up, everyone? Back for another Whodunit Beer review, and today's beer comes courtesy, once again, of a very good friend of mine and viewer of the channel, Jeff, aka NoJinx. So thank you very much, Jeff. In the description box, I will post a link to the beer mail unboxing video I did that contains all the goodies Jeff sent my way. He actually sent me 4 different Whodunit beers, the first of which I reviewed last Sunday, and I didn't do so well. It was pretty much a fail. I have been doing quite well with them recently, so it was good to see me kind of fail on one. It was a tricky beer, ended up being a bourbon barrel-aged imperial brown ale. I said bourbon barrel-aged wheat wine, so definitely off the mark, and I think I guessed the ABV at like 11.5 and ended up being 9, something like that. But it was a lot of fun to do, and these beers in general are a lot of fun to review. So if you're unfamiliar with what Whodunit beer reviews are, they are basically a blind/mystery beers, and the concept is quite simple. Somebody will wrap up and conceal a beer, like Jeff did with this one. They will then either send or give me said beer, and I will review the beer like I do most beers on my channel, with the lone exception being I have no idea what it is. So at the end of the review, I try to guess the style, the ABV, and if I'm feeling good enough, try to guess the exact beer, although that is rare. And then I will rate the beer and reveal the beer to both you and myself. Now, what do I know about this beer? Well, it was sent to me by Jeff, who resides in Michigan. It's in a 16-ounce can, and it's wrapped in holiday wrapping paper. That's all I know about it. Now, last week I did mention that I wanted the beer out of the fridge a little longer. That was out of the fridge like half an hour to 45 minutes. This one's been out of the fridge for almost an hour. So I'm hoping that if it's a bigger beer, you know, like a big Imperial Stout or something like that, or some kind of imperialized beer, that we're good with the temperature. If it ends up being a hazy or like a lager or something, we might be in trouble, whatever. A little bit of a roll just in case. Crack this one open, get it into glass, see what we got going on. Definitely looks like a dark beer, and it is coming out, so, ooh, had to save that one. And it is pouring terribly. So let me just stop with the pour real quick. Could have been from the little bit of the shake up, could be from other things, but yeah. Anyway, let me try to pour a little bit more. I was going to try to show you guys the color. You can barely see it. So it definitely pours out like a big, rich beer of some sort. Trying to save it from going on. All right, so on my tablecloth everywhere, so I don't have to, wash it for the 18th time this week. Well, not really, but I have had to wash it a couple times. Anyway, that head is gigantic, mostly because, kind of exploded a little bit. But, look at that little spilling everywhere. But, yeah, anyway, this is really a deep, dark brown color. It didn't look like straight motor oil pouring out, but it was definitely a deeper, dark brown, and that's what it is in the glass. On camera, it's going to be pitch black. The head itself is about 3 fingers of a straight up brown colored head, super creamy looking, very tightly compact. Looks quite nice. Now, I can't really see alcohol legs all that well or anything. It definitely seems to be a little bit, but that just looks like whipped cream of some sort. Like a frothy milk chocolate. It's crazy looking. Anyway, let's get a nose. This does not smell great. There's definitely deep, dark roasted malts to this one. I'm getting like wet dog hair. Have to be honest, that's what I'm getting. It does not smell all that good. There's underlying like chocolate and like the coffee's mixing with the dark roast, slight dark fruit. I'm going to be probably completely wrong, but now I'm starting to get like lager-esque kind of qualities of this one, like German Schwarzbier type of stuff going on here, European dark lager. But that wet dog hair, man, that just doesn't smell great. It has the essence of a beer that would look like this with your, dark roasted malt, coffee, chocolate, a little bit of dark fruits, maybe a touch of vanilla too. But I'm getting this wet dog hair characteristic that is very hard to get past, honestly. It's kind of like when you get a skunked beer, where it has that skunky kind of note that is hard to get past until the beer opens up. That's what I'm getting this one. Of course, the head itself is now about 2 fingers, but and it was tough to get past that. But for the most part, yeah, wet dog hair. Now a little bit of like an astringent type of things going on too. This, I don't know if this is an off can or if this is how the beer's supposed to smell, but I'm not digging it. Let's get into it. Cheers, everybody. Thanks again, Jeff, I think. No wet dog hair in the taste. Let me pour some more in here. Hopefully the head doesn't go crazy again. First thing I'm getting is so the first thing, let me talk about the body. Body in this one is definitely substantial. And by substantial, I mean higher side of medium, lower side of light body. Like this has this definitely has I want to say viscous and chewy, but it definitely has a bigger body to it for sure. Yeah, bigger body, no doubt. The mouthfeel on it, soft, smooth, relatively creamy, lower carbonation. I like the mouthfeel to this one a lot. The body and mouthfeel are actually superb. I like it. The taste on this one, though, is this one is very bitter to my palate right now. There is a big-time residual, like lingering type of piney, resinous kind of quality to the hops. Right up front, I get the chocolate, the coffee, the dark roast, and malt, but like mid-palate, I'm smacked in the face with hops and lots of them. It's also seemingly mixing in with what I would assume is a slight alcohol stringency. And yeah, this reminds me of an old school black IPA, or I guess a black double IPA, or Cascadian Dark Ale, whatever you want to call it, or a big, like, fresh Russian Imperial Stout. That's what I'm getting on my palate right now. It finishes, honestly, to the higher side of bitter. Like, and that's rare for me. How many times have you heard me say high bitterness? Usually it's mild to moderate or mild or none. A high bitterness on a beer, for me, is a rarity these days. And this is giving me a pine resin kind of quality on the back of the palate. And it's just giving me a very resinous type of feel to it. It's quite dry. Some might have full on dry. Not much residual sweetness. It's nice. It's a nice beer. It's solid. The nose, gross because of the wet dog hair, but the taste is, it's reminding me of an old school, either black double IPA or some sort of a fresh Russian Imperial Stout that has a higher bitterness. So after drinking almost half the can already and trying to figure out what it tastes, I am going to go, this is one of two. I'm going to go one of two. I'll lock in one for sure, but I'm going to say this is either a black double IPA or a Russian Imperial Stout. 10% alcohol by volume. I don't think there's any adjuncts, and if there is, I'm not really getting any. I mean, I could see coffee or chocolate, something, because those characters up front are quite distinguishable from the rest. So I could see like cocoa nibs or cocoa powder. I could see definitely some kind of like coffee beans or something. But I don't think so. Not barrel aged. At least I'm not tasting any. So yeah, we'll go with 10% either black IPA or Russian Imperial Stout. I'm going to go, because of that residual linger, I'm going to say this is 10% black double IPA. Probably going to be wrong. Wouldn't be surprised if it's a Russian Imperial Stout. No adjuncts, and I have no idea what this beer is. So let's see how wrong I am. I'm not confident at all with this one, but I will say that there's definitely substantial bitterness. Now, whether or not that actually ends up, translating to the actual beer itself, I guess we'll see. All right, so we have Idiom Imperial Porter from Griffin Claw. So it's an Imperial Porter. Do they say the ABV anywhere? No? Come on. 9.5%, 65 IBUs, Imperial Porter Ale. Okay, so I will say a couple things for this one. Let's see how fresh this is. 10, 14, 19, so this is 3 months on it. So still relatively fresh in some regards. First things first. This beer is definitely a big, piney, resinous type of Imperial Porter. I said 10%, 9.5, almost hit the nail on the head. I said, black IPA, like a black double IPA. So Imperial Porter, 65 IBUs. I can taste every single IBU. Most of the time when I list IBUs or try to for every review I do if a beer has them listed. And there's no reason for that other than probably OCD at this point. More often than not, IBUs do not translate to what I'm tasting, probably like 70, 80% of the time. This is one of those cases where this drink's more like probably 85, 90 IBUs. It has a big resinous kick to it. It has, to me, imperial, imperial black IPA kind of feel to it. I also said it could be a Russian imperial stout. I will say a couple things about this beer. Number one, I am impressed at the body. Usually when you're talking about a porter, imperial porter, a Baltic porter, usually let down by the body. This one, it's higher side of medium, lower side of full. For a 9.5% imperial porter, it's really nice, and the mouthfeel is fantastic. But I would say if you pick this one up and you're like, oh, imperial porter, that should be delicious. Keep in mind, this has a lot of hop character to it, a lot of resinous pine, a lot of bitterness, at least to my palate. So if you want to grab this one at some point, keep that in mind for sure. But I'm okay with how I did. I came close to the ABV. I said it could be, a Russian imperial stout kind of black IPA. And the fact that this is imperial porter and it's 65 IBUs indicates to me that they were definitely going for a kind of a more of a balanced, maybe more of like a hop forward imperial porter. So pretty happy with how I did. It's a pretty damn good beer. Again, I didn't rate it before I opened it, right? Now, to be honest with you, I was going to say about a high 3.75. I was going to go with 3.8, 3.85, somewhere around there. I think it's solid. I think it's good. I just didn't like the aroma. Without the aroma, it's definitely a 4 out of 5, maybe even higher. But that aroma, I gotta factor that into the score and how I feel about a beer. It smelled like wet dog hair. That's what it smelled like. Absolutely gross. But the taste itself, pretty good. I would like to see the bitterness knocked down a little bit. That's a little bit too intense for my palate nowadays. I like bitterness, but not to that point. And I don't like that huge resinous, like lingering pine kind of thing. And that's what's happening in this beer. And I drank maybe about half of it on camera. And I will tell you right now that, yeah, it's definitely just sitting there and lingering. So I'm pretty happy with how I did. Didn't nail it, but, I thought I did a pretty good job with it. And, yeah, anyway. Thank you very much to Jeff for hooking me up with this one. I appreciate it, good sir. Definitely did better than I did last week. Hopefully next week I do even better. Appreciate everybody stopping by for another Whodunit Beer review. I got a couple more from Jeff. I got one from my buddy Dan. And then after that, I have no more. So if anybody wants to send some my way, trade, whatever the case may be, let me know. These are a lot of fun to do. I think it's the most honest and proper way to do a review. And I love every single second of it. So once again, thanks, Jeff. Thanks, everybody, for stopping by for another Whodunit Beer review. Until the next one. Cheers.